Going to see that today. Guys, this will be the first of many matchups between these two quarterbacks.
I have no doubt about that. Thank you, Tracy. They met back on October 7th in Cleveland, and the Browns beat Baltimore 12-9 in overtime. In that game, Mayfield threw for 342 yards and a touchdown. But it's really a different Ravens team, different Cleveland team, both of them, since that game some 2.5 months ago. Jackson, of course, has taken over here in the back half of the season for the Ravens. The defense is leading virtually every category. We're going to see that Ravens defense on the field here to start, as the kick comes to Peppers about 3 yards out, and he stays on his feet to about the 34-yard line. A nice return by Peppers. Give him 29 on the run back, and let's bring out the rookie out of Oklahoma, who's thrown for 24 touchdowns this season. He actually has a chance to even break the rookie season record of touchdown passes. If he had 3 today, which would be a tall task against this defense, he would break the mark of 26 touchdown passes that belong to Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. Another big part of this story is Nick Chubb, rookie running back, who's going to get the first handle. He darts to the left, cuts back to the middle, and he's got a quick 6. This Browns offense with the coordinator, Freddie Kitchens, who was your old tight end coach early in your career at Dallas, Tony. They have kicked it up a notch big time since he became the coordinator.
Well, they're running the football really well. This Nick Chubb, everyone talks about Mayfield. There's Freddie Kitchens. He's done an outstanding job running downhill, a trick play or two almost every half, and they're getting the ball down the field. Expect some empty formation today and get on the ball and play fast like Baker did in college. I want to see that. 2nd and 4. They go back to Chubb. He's got a great blocker in front of him. Couple of blocks were thrown.
Zeitler and DeValve helped create a huge open lane, and it goes for 13.
Well, you're going to see pullers, and everyone's going to come back weak side, and Chubb just follows the lead blockers, and I really think this Chubb is outstanding. I mean, really, everyone knows Barkley. Chubb is that next guy, I think, in this class that if you're looking at 2 running backs, it's those 2 that stand out head and shoulders.
He's just 9 yards away from 1,000 now after 2 carries for 19. Here's a little trickery already. It's Perriman on the reverse, and he's out of bounds at about the Baltimore 42. Now, this Ravens defense of Don Martindale, the first-year defensive coordinator, #1 total defense, #1 fewest yards allowed per play, #1 scoring defense. Michael Pierce, you see him. He was not in that first matchup against the Browns. He was injured back early October.
Yeah, and that's a monster difference because he's the guy, 97, who when they want to stop the run, he's going to sit in the middle there. There's Suggs, and they just present so many issues for teams when they know you're passing. Look at all the people at the line of scrimmage. Quarterbacks have to try and figure out who's coming, who's not, and communicate it.
Here's a 2nd and 5. Mayfield looks to the right, shrugs the shoulder, goes down the middle, and he's picked off right into the hands of Jimmy Smith. So the first pass attempt after 3 successful runs is intercepted by Jimmy Smith.
Well, go ahead and watch the blitz come off the side. Baker doesn't know if he's blocked or not, and so he feels like he's got to rush the pass, and he throws it to Callaway, and he's covered. The little tip on the ball, but it doesn't change a whole lot. He would have thrown it a hair inside, but Smith does a great job getting his hands on Callaway. And that comes because a young quarterback just doesn't quite know he's protected on that play. Was everyone blocked or not? You kind of feel like you got to let it go.
All right, out of the gun now, the Ravens' first snap. And Flagg's first play comes to a halt. He had handed it off to Gus Edwards. Again, both of these teams with rookie quarterbacks and rookie running backs. Edwards of Baltimore coming on strong.
Snap infraction, offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So Sean Smith and crew on hand for this vitally important game in the AFC North. And Lamar Jackson, once he took over as quarterback, coming in, of course, after Flacco suffered a hip injury, this has been an incredible run display by the Ravens the last month and a half.
And they continually each week tweak that running game to make it difficult. Look at all the nuance.
Here's the throw, and his first pass way over the head of Hurst. Yeah, with the 6 games that he has started, they have outrushed their opponent by about 1,000 yards. His numbers now, they're not going to dazzle you. He had his first 200-yard passing game last Saturday night against the Chargers, but he's running for 78 yards a game and directing an offense.
Yeah.
It's been very potent.
You're exactly right. And last week they needed it in that specific game. This would be his biggest challenge to me, because Gregg Williams is going to load the box, and he's going to put, look at this, all these guys, the old Bear defense. We're going to put a 4-6, we'll call it, and I'll explain it in a minute, but it's going to be hard on Baltimore.
Here's 2nd and 15, and Edwards looked like he could go down for a loss, able to squeeze out 3 yards. And now the Ravens offensive lineup, as you see it go by you here. Hurst moves to left guard. Alex Lewis out for the 4th straight game with a shoulder injury. And Edwards, again, the rookie out of Rutgers, who has had 3 home starts and went over 100 in each of those games.
251.
A back who did not play a single down the first 5 weeks of the season.
Jim, there's no safety in the middle of the field back here. Everyone is down. They are not going to let them.
Here comes the blitz, 3rd and 12. They pick it up, sidearm throw. Hurst with the catch. The ball comes out, he's ruled down. He is ruled down, but a yard short of the first. That was Avery who was in on the contact.
So Gregg Williams is going to do this all day. You won't see this very often in the NFL. There's nobody back there. They're going to dare Lamar Jackson to throw this ball over and over again, and Baltimore's going for it, or at least pretending to draw him off sides.
4th and a long yard to go. And they do go for it. Jackson keeps it. Jackson able to come off the first hit by Peppers and slide past him for the first down. So an early gamble by Harbaugh, and it pays off.
Oh, I love it. Season on the line. He's not playing it safe. Just a simple power play. You pull guards and you get your quarterback, and when the quarterback runs it, you get an extra guy in the run game.
Look at Ty Montgomery's block. His first block helped give some daylight to Jackson, and he had to work his way around Peppers, and he does. So the ball at the 50, and a first down for Baltimore. Fake into the line, and Jackson going to go down the middle of the field, and he's got his tight end again. This time it's Andrews. Baker Mayfield's old teammate at Oklahoma picks up 28.
They're going to fake. You see no one in the middle of the field back there. Right down the middle's Andrews. Lamar Jackson sees it before the snap. And they're going to make Baltimore throw the football, and Baltimore comes out saying, okay, we're going to keep doing it.
Andrews, who had the long touchdown catch and run last week against the Chargers, went for 68 yards. Picks up 28 on that one. And Baltimore moving at the Cleveland 22. Look at that formation. 3 in the backfield along with the quarterback. And it's Edwards for a couple. So the Cleveland defense, Blake Williams is the defensive play caller, the son of the head coach Greg, and today happens to be Blake's 35th birthday. What do you expect? You've talked about this already, loading it up front, sometimes leaving the middle of the field open.
Yes, and what they're going to do, when I talk about the 46 Bear, you're going to see this defense get involved where everyone's down and they don't give up that 1-yard run inside. You got to run wide against it over and over again.
2nd and 8. Jackson throws it away. Boy, he tucked that football under as if to hide it, and then throws it with great coverage downfield, just throws it away.
Like he was going to run to the right, and then he's like, oh, nope, I'm going to throw it. They were trying to trick him. And we've seen enough Raven games. A little secret is just everyone tries to defend these outside runs. And you know what? When you watch him closely, Gregg Williams talked about Gus Edwards just goes right through the middle on an A-gap run, right down the center for 8 yards, 6 yards. That's what they're coming in here to stop, that play.
Jackson's already thrown 4 passes, 2 of 4. They've run it 3 times. Now they have a 3rd and 8. Pass way wide of the mark. Trying to connect with John Brown, and I'll bring out the ultra-successful Justin Tucker.
Well, once again, he's guarding him, him. Nobody else. Everyone else blitzes. So you can throw it to anybody on the field, but the ball has to come out right away because they have an extra guy rushing, and you just got to be accurate. And, those are the ones that Lamar's got to get a little better on. Just signal a slant and throw it.
Speaking of accurate, the NFL's most accurate kicker all time at 90%, Justin Tucker, from 38 yards. done it again. Last week he missed 2, but they were 50+ and 65 yards out. He is some reliable weapon for them. 3 on the board. And there's Greg Williams visiting with his team, just surrendering a field goal off the takeaway by the Ravens defense. So 3 for the Ravens on the takeaway points. Tucker about to kick off now for the second time to the Browns. It was week 17 last year. You alluded to it at the start. Similar situation for the Ravens, playing to get in to the postseason. Came down to the last minute. The Bengals had nothing to play for.
That was the miracle for the Bills to get in.
It was. Never forget the footage of the Bills watching the end of this game in their locker room. And this was what happened. There's a touchdown pass from Flacco to Wallace, and things were looking good for the Ravens for a moment. But then Dalton on a 4th down play finds Tyler Boyd 49 yards out in closing seconds to win it and break hearts in Baltimore.
And that one burns. And you asked Jim, Tracy Wolfson, and you both asked him, did you tell your team about that? And I think he said, no, we're just coming in here. We're playing to win. We don't think about that. Different team.
Didn't feel like he had to bring it back up again.
No.
He said everybody knows.
And I agree.
Duke Johnson's the running back.
Alert, 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 alert! Hey, we gotta go back there. Hurry, hurry! Stop!
And they'll give it to Johnson. And he's got a gain of about 4. Now, again, it was just a 4-play series before the interception last time they had it, but they have run the football now 4 times for a minimum of 4 yards on each carry.
Yep, and I think you run the ball and then you play quick, just like this. See the empty formation? I think they're doing this to minimize the pressures. It's like if we get on the ball and play fast, it's going to be hard to pressure us, but I don't think they know Baltimore.
They're blitzing, and the pass is over the head of Johnson, and we have an update. JP and Boomer in New York.
Bears looking for a first-round bye.
You know, after a Minnesota 3-and-out, guys, Jordan Howard's going to take this in from 6 yards out. They take a 7-0 lead over the Vikings. That Bears defense is giving Kirk Cousins all he can handle.
Back to Jim Nance.
All kinds of things riding on that game, while Philadelphia at the same time is playing Washington on the NFC side. Here's a 3rd and 6. Going empty. Mayfield thought about it now. Launches long. Callaway catches it. Did he get the feet down? The official says it's a catch. And Mayfield wants to hurry up to the line before anybody gets a chance to look at this. But I think it's...
Well, did the right foot get in right here? This is what it's going to come down to. Ooh, that's a catch.
Did he have the catch when the foot was still planted? I believe he did.
Catch.
It's 38 yards.
Quick handoff to the right.
And there's Johnson, the ball carrier, takes a pile with him and gets the ball to about the Baltimore 30. That was some catch by Callaway. And we got a flag on the field. With that footwork by Antonio Callaway, yet another rookie who's contributing at Cleveland.
12 men on the field, defense, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Here's back to that previous play.
What a throw. Over the shoulder, right foot's in. I mean, I think that's in. If you paused it right when the ball's touching his hands, I'd say his right foot was on the ground.
So an enviable 1st and 5 situation now as Johnson reverses course and heads to the left.
Oh, no one goes with him, so you know it's a zone. No one ran across the field.
And again, going empty. Here's Mayfield going to the end zone. Got a man open! It's caught for the touchdown! That's Perriman against his old team.
This was a play, Freddie Kitchens, every week. There's 4 guys on that side of the field. So what Baker does, he looks for the one guy that they are not accounting for, and Perriman runs right through the defense. And you see flat-footed right there was Jefferson. He's just standing, and it's a perfect throw timing by Baker.
Touchdown pass number 25 of his season, within 1 of tying the all-time rookie record. And how about Merriman as the extra point is good by Greg Joseph. How sweet is that for him? Drafted in the first round by Baltimore. They gave up on him.
Touchdown last week, another one this week.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
Pretty impressive how Mayfield reacted to throwing an interception with his first pass. He comes back 38 yards to Callaway, then 28 yards to Perriman for the touchdown, which gives him now a touchdown pass in all 13 games he has started this year.
You have to understand that's not, I mean, rookies don't do that. And we showed you earlier, he had 24 touchdowns, and he had Peyton Manning at 26, Russell Wilson right around there at 25. It's hard for rookies to throw touchdowns because every week you're getting a little bit different. You're learning on the fly. To do that means you have a rare gift.
Short kick. Moore gets past a few Browns and gets it just to cross the 30. Yes, he is in some pretty rare company. It's 26 apiece. Peyton and Russell Wilson. They started throughout the entire season. Of course, Mayfield did not begin the year. Tyrod Taylor was the starter.
And you know, the thing is, Peyton probably had 25 interceptions that year. But you're supposed to make mistakes when you're young. It's hard, though, to throw a lot of touchdowns because you don't know coverages. You don't know what beats what on your offensive system that beats the defensive coverages. So it's really just instincts. And so you're seeing this kid has high-level instincts by that, a lot like those guys. That's a great sign for Cleveland.
Here's Jackson's toss over to Crabtree. Hanging out on the sideline, and he's bumped out by Schobert and others. But a good pickup to start this drive. Gain of 7.
And a lot of passes by Baltimore to open this game, and it's because of what Greg Williams is doing defensively. They're going to make this game be won by Lamar Jackson. Now, they'll get a run here and there, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough sledding. And I think you got to remember, this offense, in a lot of ways, is built like Colin Kaepernick. Greg Roman designs a lot of these runs. And they're doing, Baltimore's running it like San Francisco did with Colin Kaepernick. And what you find is, who was in that division going against him? Greg Williams.
He was the defensive coordinator at the then St. Louis Rams. As Jackson's able to get away from a sack and tuck it under and take off. What a run. That could have been a loss on the play. Instead, 27-yard scramble by Jackson.
Watch him step up right here when he's about to get hit. And then Jackson takes off and uses that rare gift that not many people have. And don't need to go back into bounds. Just run out of bounds right there, Lamar. These guys are big and fast too. But what a play. I mean, that's drop back to pass, then take off and run. That's going to be how he's going to get some of his runs in this game.
So they did mark it the accurate place where he stepped out. So it's a 24-yard pickup from the 38. And that's Edwards, who likes to go right down the middle of the field. North-south runner between the guards. So again, the Ravens with a win. Wouldn't matter what happened with Pittsburgh if the Ravens win. They take the division. They would be the 4th seed. And Pittsburgh would be out of the playoffs. Pittsburgh, well, the Steelers need to beat Cincinnati, which most figure they'll find a way to do that today, even without Antonio Brown, by the way, who's inactive. And they'll need Cleveland to help their cause and knock out the Ravens. That would put the Steelers then into the postseason as a division winner in the 4th seed. Here's a 2nd and 8. Pass too low for Willie Snead. So now 3rd and long coming up for Baltimore, which faced a lot of 3rd and 8s last week.
And they hadn't been very good. That's the way that you can beat Baltimore. If you're able to slow down the run, they're not very good on 3rd and longs. However, last week, Jackson made some of his best throws against the Chargers, and that really was the difference in that game. Everything else was a really tight, contested game. Both sides, that played a role. We'll see if it continues today right here.
Ty Montgomery into the lineup for the Ravens. The former Packer into pass protect. That pass is dropped, but it brings out a flag. Body Calhoun on the coverage. Snead was the receiver.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense, number 22. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So it was on Peppers trying to defend on Andrews.
And he holds him. It's just a clear-out route to throw a slant behind him. And he doesn't need to do that because even if he catches it on 3rd and 8, he's only going to get 4 or 5 yards.
Instead, of course, with it, the automatic first down and the ball placed at the 31 of Cleveland. Kenny Dixon now, number 30. He's a dangerous runner, flanking the quarterback out of the shotgun.
Look at how many guys are down in the box. Just a ton for Cleveland.
Running play, met right at the line of scrimmage. Dixon maybe picked up a foot. Schobert plugged the hole for the Browns defense.
So you see this right here. It's really hard just to say, hey, we're just going to run the ball right down inside. So everything's going to have to bounce wide. And when you do that then, if they have an extra guy, which is Cleveland going to try and do that the entire game, you are going to give up throws. But you're going to make it hard on what Baltimore's been doing to everybody else on some of these runs inside.
Yeah, everybody's been gashing them.
53's the line.
And they're going to try to take that away and say, Lamar Jackson, go ahead, throw and beat us. 2nd and 9. He throws it. That's Andrews with a defender on his back for a gain of about 5. Mitchell was the one holding on to him. And again, a 3rd down situation. 3rd and 4 on the way for Baltimore. The Ravens, who entered the day with a possibility of being the 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, or the 6 seed, or no playoffs at all kinds. Of course, some of that's worked out as far as seeding from the early games with the Patriots and Texans. But look at this one. That's Jackson to the end zone for the touchdown. Oh, they were able to expose it that time.
What a fantastic job by Lamar Jackson. It's a fake, but he's going to keep it up the middle. But here's the best part. He fakes out the guy who's supposed to take the quarterback, which is the safety, Randall, for Cleveland. You got one job, Randall, it's the quarterback, and he went right with the running back. It should have been stopped, but great fake by Lamar Jackson.
Jackson takes it 25 yards for the touchdown. Extra point by Tucker makes it 10-7. Jackson had 2 carries on that drive, 1 for 24, and the TD from 25. 10-7 Ravens. Check this out. 22 drives since the Ravens last scored an offensive touchdown against Cleveland. They had nothing but field goals in their overtime loss against the Browns earlier this year, and they did not score an offensive touchdown in the last 2 quarters of the second game they played last year against Cleveland. So 22 drives later, it's Lamar Jackson and a little mix-up and confusion on how to stop the run, which you're going to diagram on the Cleveland side as Tucker now sends it back down about a yard deep. And after a hesitation, Callaway says, why not? Let's go for it. And he's down at the 20.
So on the touchdown run, the free safety has to get involved because you have an extra guy on the quarterback. So he takes the quarterback a lot of the time. Quarterback fakes a guy and then he runs wide. Well, watch. On this specific play, these guys are changing responsibility because the tight end motion's over. So Jamie Collins is supposed to take the quarterback. And Randall goes to the running back, the safety. Randall wasn't wrong there. When you look at it closely, it really, I think, was Collins' job. Because the tight end motion's over, it exchanges responsibility. That's a lot for everyone to understand. However, that's why it's difficult going against Baltimore. You got to get everybody on the same page and communicating with people in motion.
It's not a look that you see every week, much less, once a month, once a year.
Yes, exactly.
So the run by Chubb is stuffed for a 1-yard loss by Michael Pierce, who we mentioned is up after missing the first game against Cleveland. Tonight on 60 Minutes presents Visit the World's Top Restaurant in Italy, Scotland's iconic whiskey makers, and hear music and stories from Sir Paul McCartney tonight only on 60 Minutes Presents. 2nd and 11.
Well, we'll see if Baltimore gets gun shy after you throw touchdowns for 40 yards. Do you keep pressuring, or do you like to sit back and just see?
On the handoff. The draw is able to pick up a big chunk. It's Chubb. It looked like, again, he was able to weave through some tiny creases and get past a few Ravens and take it for 10. So it'll be a 3rd and 1.
Chubb is just, he's got patience, he's got vision, and he's got a violent running style. Nickname Old School. There's a chance they give it to him right here again.
There he is, and they're on him quickly. They're on him right at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Eric Weddle, Pro Bowler, who, if the Ravens win today, will get a $1 million bonus from his contract.
Well, that's why he blitzes from the free safety position. He knows it's a run. That's not his responsibility. But when you have a veteran presence like that, I remember Troy Polamalu used to do that. He's got cover 2. He's got a deep way part of the field, and he just rushes. He goes, "Why'd you do that?" "Because it was a run." He's like, coach is like, okay.
Okay, can't argue with that.
You tackled him for 2-yard loss on 3rd and 1. Good job.
Colquitt into punt. It earns a fair catch signal by Jones, who's been a good presence in the return game for Baltimore the past month and a half. 48-yard punt. Jackson back out with a lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Spark Cash Card from Capital One. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL.
Some wonderful images from a recent Ravens visit to MedStar Union Memorial Hospital here in Baltimore to help brighten some spirits during this holiday season. So the AFC playoff picture coming in, you only had one of the 4 divisions had been claimed. That was New England. We didn't know any of the 6 seeds. There were all kinds of possibilities. Kansas City's up 14 already on the Raiders. And that's the current look at it. As a 1st and 10 throw is complete. And that's Brown with the catch. Yeah, it looks like right now the way it's going, of course, still too early to get up on any of the games out west, but Kansas City, if it wins that game, would be the 1 seed. New England the 2, Houston the 3. The winner of the AFC North again would be the 4, Baltimore or Pittsburgh. And that would put the Chargers at the 5, and the winner tonight between the Colts and Titans will be the 6. Second and 3. That's Dixon. All the way out to the 45, a gain of 17.
Well, this is the run that you had to stop. And watch the fake here, and then he's going to go down. Everyone gets just discombobulated with the motion guy, like he could get the ball. But this is how they really get people, in my opinion. That just A-gap run, right straight downhill. Oh, another 8-10 yards, and then you start changing your defense. And that's the one you got to stop. The other ones, they sprinkle in.
Back to Edwards, and he gets the carry right down the gut. He stays on his feet and takes it to the 30 of Cleveland. 3 drives, all 3 have been taken into Cleveland territory. That one goes for 24.
Another motion and another right down. Don't get confused. Look at the backers. They're all just getting a little patient, or they get a little bit moving sideways, horizontal, and you just got to go downhill. Take that away right away. That's how Baltimore controls the clock and beats them.
That's the 3rd rush for the Ravens that's gone for over 20 yards here in this open quarter, which has a minute to go. Go right back to the same play, basically, with Edwards up the middle for 3. Still no score at Heinz Field between the Bengals and the Steelers.
You think that they're looking up and just looking at the score of this game if you're Pittsburgh? You're just like, what's the score? I'm playing my game, but I'm up there looking.
Can you imagine the fan base, though? How bizarre it has to be rooting for the Cleveland Browns because your entire season rests on the Browns helping you out here.
I've been there before. There's somebody not trying to normally root for.
2nd and 7. Oh, and look at Dixon. He went off another big run. Again, they're able to start up right between the tackles, slide whichever way they need to, and take it for another big gain.
Another run straight at you. Baltimore says, we're pounding the rock right at you. Try and stop us.
Into the 1st quarter in Baltimore. Ravens driving. I'm going to do a little Eastern Illinois math on you here, Tony. 179 yards of offense in the first quarter. I mean, you're talking on pace for 716 yards.
I'm going to do the math, but it might take me a few more seconds than you just did. It sounds, yes, it sounds about
484 on the ground on pace. 121 on the ground in the first quarter. And here we open up the second with a Jackson Keep. Jackson darts to the end zone for the touchdown. One Heisman winner watching another.
Yeah, and you'll see that both guys on the left side of the line pull all the way around. So watch over here, over here. It's going to fake this way, and then you just follow right around. And there's Hurst leading the way.
Hurst had a couple of nice blocks on that drive alone. Again, starting today for Alex Lewis. A 77-yard drive, 70 of it on the ground. And we'll be back in Baltimore in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. I mean, Lamar Jackson, just one play into the second quarter, has 4 carries, 59 yards, and a pair of touchdowns as he sits on the bench alongside Joe Flacco.
And this is why no one wants to see this Ravens team in the playoffs. Nobody, the Chargers last week, even playing at home, couldn't move the ball. They control the clock, they run it, and they have an incredible repertoire of things to do out of that run game that look the same. And then they stop the run, and they blitz you better than anybody else. It's just, this is going to be a tough out if they get in.
To think they've won 5 of the last 6, their only loss was in overtime at Kansas City.
Exactly, at Kansas City.
Update time. JP and Boomer, take it away.
Pittsburgh needs to help themselves.
Well, they're not on this play. Ben Roethlisberger does not see Sean Williams, throws it right down the middle of the field. That was a great interception by Williams. He's going to take it 58 yards for the interception return touchdown. Bengals take the lead 7-0 over the Steelers.
Jim, Tony, and Tracy.
So the pick 6 with the Bengals striking first in that game. Thank you, fellas. Again, the Ravens, if the Steelers lost this game, it wouldn't matter. They would take the division. The Ravens would win it off the Steelers' loss. Here's Mayfield giving it to Johnson. Nice piece of running for about 8.
This is a monster drive, in my opinion, because if you get behind 17-7, you can still run the football, you can still stay balanced, and you can get up on this line of scrimmage. Baker will call it at the line. Now Baltimore has to communicate and be like, okay, and Baker decides who's pressuring or who's not. That's why you get up on the line.
And then you got movement by Greg Robinson, the left tackle.
False start, offense number 78, 5-yard penalty, second down.
You can see what they're doing, though. They get a good play like they did on first down. He gets him to the line, moves up the tempo, and goes empty.
And you can throw 2-3-yard little passes and still move the chains on 2nd and 5, or all of a sudden you throw it 3 yards and he gets 2-3 yards after the catch. Well, if you get behind, you don't score on this drive, and they score and it's 24-7, well, you're not going to continue to run this football. And that is the worst case scenario against this Ravens defense when they can pressure on every play.
2nd and 7. Running to the right with Johnson. This time good for only 1. So it'll be 3rd and 6 coming up. A Cleveland team that 3-1-1 in the division this year. Having swept Cincinnati, which you saw just took the early lead on Pittsburgh. Having beaten the Ravens in overtime. Having tied the Steelers week 1. Losing to the Steelers in the rematch game at Pittsburgh.
Back to that same motion they scored the touchdown on. 4 guys on top, 1 on the bottom.
Mayfield's going to the right. He's got Callaway. Over the shoulder catch for a first down. Near midfield, goes for 19. He beat Brandon Carr.
Well, he's 1-on-1. And so the quarterback, and that's a great release by Callaway. And Carr really just protecting the slant. Make him throw the fade there, and it's just a great throw by Mayfield, and a great read, 1-on-1 over there.
basically goes no huddle here. First down. He's setting up a little toss here to Johnson, who's good out of the backfield. As one defender fly right over the top of him. Urban. And we'll give him 3 for that, advancing the ball to the Baltimore side of the 50.
And they get on the ball because it's like, hey, if you're going to pressure, I could see it. And they were hoping for pressure on that last screen play. Didn't get it, though.
2nd and 7. Rushing 5. Mayfield's pass. Had to get rid of it quickly.
I love that. I think that was a fantastic play. At home, it's like, oh, he just missed him. He has a guy running scot-free. There's no outlet to throw the ball. You just throw it away. Throw it at the feet. It doesn't look great. But it's a great, your coach right there, Freddie Kitchens, is going to be like, well done. That kept us in a manageable 3rd and 7 situation that we can get a first down. Don't take the sack.
Chubb is back into the game. Perriman, who caught the touchdown of the first quarter, also in for this snap. Both Chubb and Duke Johnson on the field for 3rd and 7. From the pocket, Mayfield's pass, a little out of reach for Landry. Young covering. And the Browns send out Colquitt.
Just a little high and behind him. And you could see Landry had come open on the side, but really Baker didn't have a spot in the pocket to finish his throw. He got pushed, a little push from the inside.
Colquitt, who was the punter for the Broncos when they won Super Bowl 50 3 years ago. The ball bounces at the 9 and behind the back. Oh, the Browns player was straddling the line. He was on the line. Philip Gaines. That was actually Justin Burris. Burris. Touchback. The Ravens have had 3 drives and 3 scores. And here they'll go from the 20. And offense, again, they made adjustments once Flacco went on a month and a half ago. And they have done something the league has yet to figure out. Run the football at will. Jackson keeps. Not this time, no gain. Harbaugh called it elegant complexity, the offense.
It is, because there's so much stuff. Now, this is the way they're going to counter. Watch this. This is cover 2. 2 safeties. You usually don't stop the run with guys that far. But they're going to get these corners involved. And that's the extra guy. That's where Cleveland can get a guy to take the quarterback. The corner can now get knife in there. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at that. Now on 2nd down, you put everyone down around the line. Get control.
2nd and 10, you saw Blake Williams, son of the head coach, who's the defensive signal caller. As Jackson's in trouble, and he's taken down with a flag thrown in to boot. Back at the 12-yard line, Coley with the hit on Jackson.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 65. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Ogunjobi's going to be hit with the big penalty as he kind of reaches in the upper part of the face guard.
And it is. It looks like a penalty, but it's too bad for him because he pushed the pocket and really did a fantastic job until the end. It's hard when you're fighting the guy right in front of you.
It was going to be a sack
over there.
It was going to be a sack whether you hit him in the helmet or not, and it was going to be back at about the 12-yard line. Instead, Ravens out to the 35, new set of downs. Dixon, the running back. Dixon, what a jump cut that is. A second one, too. He can pass Schobert. Look at Dixon. Take off into the secondary and finally tripped up at about the 27. Max Williams with a great block that leads to 37 yards by Dixon.
Look at the pulling. I mean, there's just so many guys pulling and misdirection everywhere for Baltimore. It's really hard to find. They call it the gap. If you run right next to the center, it's the one gap. Well, guys have gaps a lot of the time.
That was some block. Whew.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Max Williams. And then finally, if it wasn't for the last moment, Randall being able to get a hand on him, that would have gone the distance.
It's just hard because these gaps keep changing when everyone pulls, you know? Look at how many guys pulled there?
Well, they pull out a flag.
False start.
I see what you did.
Offense number 77, 5-yard penalty. Remains first
up to
down.
166 yards rushing.
Oh, gosh.
Still 10.5 to go in the second quarter. We got an update. Back to New York.
Chiefs want home field.
Yeah, they want the #1 seed, JB. Here comes Damian Williams right up the middle, 4-yard TD run. Kansas City extends their lead now 21-0 over the Raiders.
Back to Jim Nantz.
Yeah, thank you, guys. You see what they did with Damian Williams this week. They gave him a new 2-year contract as he's stepped up big time. Taking over for the position that Kareem Hunt used to man. Here's a 1st and 15. Complete to Moore. But the Ravens putting up some, again, staggering numbers here as far as running the football.
Well, look at, you got misdirection. You got a polar going this way. You could possibly give the ball to a receiver going in motion that way. And then let's not just pull one guy, let's pull two. Now what Cleveland needs to do is start following the polars. Believe me, the ball is going to go to where they go. They're still caught up in that guy motioning right here.
2nd and 6. That's Jackson. Blocker in front. That's Williams again throwing a block, pushing Peppers away. Jackson basically doesn't even get touched until he's already picked up at least the 1st down and a couple more.
And this time the free safety, you're not going to see, he's going to come out of the middle of the field. He's the guy who's got to get Jackson. And he comes all the way out of the middle of the field, Randall. And he gets him, but it's, you know, after too many yards, this is going to be very difficult on Cleveland. There's not a lot of answers. This Baltimore team is just really good in the run game.
Greg Williams thought, having faced even back as a high school coach years ago, the old flex bone, going to clinics that Ken Hatfield used to mentor as the coach at Arkansas, he thought he had some solutions for this, but not so far as Edwards tries it off right tackle, which is a rare sight for Edwards to go anywhere other than right behind the center. And we'll check the marker here.
Holding. Offense number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
So the hard part for defenses is they don't see it very often. So even though Greg may have an answer, the defense hasn't seen it. So guys get like just their eyes go to the wrong place. One linebacker looks here and then it's like, whoa, they just went right back there. And you know, if you see it every week, your eyes don't go to the wrong place. The second week, the third week, the fourth week you go against it. But they don't see it until they play Baltimore. Maybe Seattle, but that's about it right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It is. It's so new to everybody. It's just, there's got to be an adjustment period.
By the time you figure it out, it's like, okay, the game's over.
Yeah. 1st and 20. Jackson fakes the pass and avoids the sack, picks up 2. One team could get a second look at him. I mean, if things kind of continue the way they're going, Kansas City well out in front and on its way, it looks like they're locking up the 1 seed and the West Division. It could be the Chargers, just 2 weeks after playing out in L.A., coming here to take on the Ravens next week.
That's huge. To be able to play against, even like going against Kansas City or the Rams, who had some unique offenses this year, if you played them once, it's a huge benefit for your team, the coaching staff, to get the tendencies down. And that's the same way with Baltimore. If you've played Baltimore, it will help you tremendously. If you haven't, good luck.
2nd and 18. Rushing 4. Setting up screen to Dixon. Dixon tripped up. Nice piece of tackling that time by Calhoun. Sets up a 3rd and long. 3rd and 16 it'll be for Baltimore. As we're halfway through the second quarter. Driving it again, 58 yards on this series, 245 total yards so far.
And they eat the clock, and the quarterback has to stand there on the other side of the field every week. You watch these guys play, and it just, every possession feels huge because you're getting 4 less possessions a game.
On 3rd and 16, they go to the ground and get about halfway of what they needed to bring out Tucker for a shortish field goal. Tucker this season has already become the first kicker in league history to make at least 30 field goals in 6 consecutive years. He's made 32 on the year. He's already been good today from 38. This is just 35. And the kick is good. 4 drives, 4 scores.
Is that what you're trying to do on offense?
I think that works sometimes, don't you think?
the NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Ravens up 20-7 with 6:11 to go in the second quarter. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, and all the crew. Week 17, getting ready for a fun January and a game in February to boot. February 3rd in Atlanta and Super Bowl 53. Ravens trying to get into the tournament for the first time since 2014 and win the division since, well, the first time since 2012, the year they went on to win the Super Bowl down in New Orleans in the Harbaugh Bowl. Callaway to run it out. Tripped up and tumbles. 21. Flag down. Chris Board of the Ravens feels that this is going against Cleveland, as it usually does in the return game. The returning team about to be set back about half the distance.
During the return, holding number 59 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Last week in the Browns win against the Bengals, there was a moment that drew a lot of attention. Baker Mayfield after a touchdown pass with a little stare down over to the Cincinnati sideline and his former head coach Hugh Jackson. You like that?
I like his moxie. I like his confidence. I think, he's young. He's just living out his dream right now, and it's a great time in your life. So
Greg Williams told him in practice this week on Wednesday, you don't look that accurate. He said you should have seen him Thursday and Friday. As Mayfield is accurate with that throw, complete to Landry. He said Thursday and Friday he didn't miss a throw.
Well, that's what you do as a head coach. You get a guy who's so competitive. And Coach Parcells, I used to have the same deal. He'd always be like, you're not getting many, what is it, when you go to a carnival and you get, for your girlfriend, he's like, you're not getting many stuffed animals for your girlfriend, are you? And I'm like, no, I wasn't today. But he was making it competitive. He wanted to know. And
exactly.
You're just needling him.
Yeah, he's stoking him.
And that's why you're going to get the best of him.
19 yards on Landry's first catch of the game. Chubb for only a yard. Yeah, you said Thursday and Friday in practice. You said, you think it was a stare down last week. He said every throw in practice.
Everyone, and you know what's funny? He says
he looked right over.
He looked over at me like, Greg, I just told you we were going to kick your butt today. As if the defense is completely against the offense, and they are. When you're at practice every day, it's like you look at all those defensive guys, and Greg's a part of them that day. Then he becomes the head coach, and we're all in this together on Sundays.
2nd and 10. They need to put something together as the Ravens responded off the Cleveland touchdown in the first quarter, and it's been all Baltimore since that time. And look at the Ravens defense get a tackle behind the line of scrimmage on Chubb. That's Zadarius Smith, who's coming on strong second half of the season, making big plays.
It's just where it gets tough against this Baltimore. You're on the road. This is where they need a little Baker Mayfield magic, because Baltimore's going to make it difficult on third down, on second down when they know you're passing, and when they know they're up 2 scores. Got to block him up with the tight end and the running back. If you don't chip with this guy and block him, it's going to be hard.
3rd and 11. Good protection, tough throw, and it is intercepted. Oh, no, ruled incomplete. Jimmy Smith almost had his second pick, should have had it. It was deflected by Tavon Young up in the air, and Jimmy Smith saying, challenge it, I made the catch.
You see Young right there, get it up. Smith, does he come down? Yes, still good.
That's got to be a pick. That's going to be a pick.
That's an interception.
Moving on the field, the ball was intercepted by Baltimore. First down.
Oh, they ruled on the field it's intercepted.
Well, they definitely did some changing of the mind.
I love when the refs look up at the video board. We're not looking up, and let's just talk together. But John, we'll look up at that video board.
Don't let
just
anybody
tell me
know.
real quick what happened. Okay, yep, it was an interception.
Don't let anybody see you looking up there. We're not supposed to do that.
He was right. He did.
He had it.
What a play by Young to get his hand on that ball, and then Smith with an incredible interception. These corners are playing fantastic football this year for Baltimore. Yeah, it's down there. Play's over right there.
Look at it. You have one official, though, right there. So how did that get changed? You got a guy 4 feet away.
That's the video board.
Okay, of course it is.
Take your time.
What a game for Jimmy Smith. With 2 picks in the first half. And now the Ravens with a short field from the 40 of Cleveland. Fake into the line, looking up top. Able to find Crabtree. A wiggle and a first down for Baltimore.
Just a good job moving around Lamar, and then the calmness to find Crabtree, and he does the rest.
Jimmy Smith, who did not have an interception on the season, has 2 in the first 2 quarters.
And you know, you come in waves. That was the one area that's like they needed to get going. They're doing everything else great. And
down the middle. That's Snead bouncing off a hit. Snead slashing at the 5 and down to the 2.
Well, this is great. Let's fake some stuff and just pop right behind them here. And what happens is the eyes by Cleveland get caught in the backfield. And you can't do that. Kindred and Snead does a great job. I mean, he's been playing great football for this team. He does a lot for them. I really like his game.
That was another long gain for Baltimore. Snead for 25 yards, 7 plays for at least 20 already in the game. First and goal. Handed off to Max Williams. The tight end lined up as a fullback, and after a couple of stellar blocks he's had in this first half, he deserved to get his hands on the football once.
Yes.
Give him a chance to score, but he stopped at the line.
Cleveland should have taken a timeout here, and I think Baltimore should let this go all the way to 2 minutes. You had 2:35 basically. If they're going to score in the next play, at least you have plenty of time where you can run a lot of different, if you get this ball back with 1:30, Baltimore knows you're passing. Whereas with 2:35, you run screen, you can run the ball, you got all your timeouts. You might use one right there, be out of it.
2 minutes to go in the first half. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by E-Trade, the original place to invest online.
2 minutes to go in the first half. The Ravens have scored 17 unanswered after Cleveland led briefly, and in fact they are just a couple of yards away from adding to the lead. With a second and goal coming up, and how about the Bengals up 10-0 coming out of the 2-minute warning at Heinz Field.
Didn't see that one coming.
No. Where's the year ago? The Bengals knew how to play the spoiler role right here.
That's exactly right.
From the 2. Out of the gun. Keeping it. Jackson. And they say he did not get there. Would have been his 3rd rushing touchdown.
Well, once again, look at the eyes. Someone's covering him. You got to go and stay. It just, oh, does he get in though?
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah, I think he's short. Good call.
Ogunjobi making sure of that, coming in from the side. Timeout called by Cleveland to stop the clock at 1:53. That's what you were looking for on the north side of 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's okay doing it here. It doesn't kill you. It's just, if this was a game where it's 7-7 or 10-7, I'm okay going down to the 2 minute because you're comfortable you know, with this game kind of going to half if you give up a field goal. When you're down 20-7, you need as many possessions as possible, as many, you know, opportunities with the ball as possible, really throughout the whole game from that point on.
3rd and goal, a foot away. Over the top, ball came out, but he had already crossed the plane. It's going to be a touchdown. Peppers can just come on back. Jackson, who has had issues holding on to the football, but he's going to be saved by the fact here, all he had to do was break the plane, which he did right there.
Oh, whoa,
I'm
not sure.
He did pull it back in rather quickly.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, and the whistle, though, stopped any run back just to play out the play.
Oh, this is going to be very close, Jim. This is 100% getting reviewed, right?
That right there.
Where?
Is it?
Hold on, keep this pause. Go back to that. Let's see if we can keep that paused again right there at that moment. Let's see here.
You see down the line there, though. Nope.
Well, that's a good view if you didn't care about the line. There we go. Watch this. I'm going to pause this right now. Now look it.
Wow, that is close.
Right? I mean, to me, that's just not quite there, is it?
Well, maybe he went another inch after we froze it. We'll take a look. The call on the field has been overturned. It has been ruled a fumble and a recovery by Cleveland. They'll get the football at the 7. They say, again, this, as you know, these things go all the way back to New York. They say he did not cross the plane. And due to the whistle, that negates what would have been a 90-some-odd yard run back for a touchdown for Cleveland. We'll bring in Gene Steratore after this play.
Wow, what a big,
unbelievable.
I mean, huge play. Cleveland has life right now. This drive can turn this thing around if they get down there.
They got him, and it hit him on the back of the helmet. Landry. There was no one. It could have been 93 yards.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they had back-to-back touchdowns. It hits him in the helmet, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness. It hits him right in the face mask. Oh, that was a touchdown, Jim. You called it. That's a heartbreaker as well.
Cleveland fans already saying, well, why the quick whistle? Why don't you just let a play itself out? Here's a 2nd and 10. Mayfield in trouble, able to launch it incomplete. Now I want to bring Gene Steratore real quickly in from New York on that goal line play, Gene. Go ahead, what'd you say?
It is a fair question, it is a fair question from the Cleveland fans, because once that whistle is blown, the only thing we can do at that point is give Cleveland the football to spot a recovery. Without a whistle, we've got a 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown.
Thank you, Gene. 3rd and 10 coming up. Still a minute and 39 to go in the first half. Trying to do something off of what was the 11th fumble of the year by Jackson. Mayfield in the direction of Callaway, and now the Browns, who didn't take any time with it right there, will have to punt out of the end zone.
Well, Eric Weddle plays the middle of the field, but he's a safety. He doesn't blitz very much, so you don't account for him. But you can't block him. This should be a slant versus a hot route. Otherwise, this ball has to come out. When he blitzes, the ball has to leave your hand as a quarterback right away. Baker does a good job getting rid of it. Baltimore wins schematically there.
Watch out for Jones, the returner. He's dangerous. He's already had a 70-yard run back, but he's going fair catch. And the Ravens are set up at the 46. After a 39-yard punt, back in 30 after this from Farmers Insurance. Is such a strange sequence that just unfolded. It could have been 27-7, but it really could be 20-14.
With 2 of those plays.
It's a dump off pass across the middle to Montgomery for about 9. Yeah, you had a run back that was negated because of a whistle.
And then the drop by Landry, his face mask, which should have gone.
Timeout called by Baltimore. The Verizon halftime report coming up with all the latest scores and highlights, playoff scenarios, JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cowher with the Verizon halftime report.
I would have been super nervous as a Baltimore fan, being like, we had an inch for a touchdown to almost put this thing, and it's not put it away because Baker can bring him back, but your percentages are obviously off the charts. And then all of a sudden, as a Browns fan, you're like, why are we blowing the whistle? Just, you can slow play touchdowns. We can go look at those for 10 minutes.
What's the big hurry?
And there isn't any. Each team feels like a whole sequence.
2nd and 1. And they go right back to Edwards. Plows ahead for a first down near the 35. Still outside of a minute to go. No need to panic at all. 2 timeouts. There's Landry, who would have loved to have turned this game with that catch. Jackson wrapped up. And that is Myles Garrett making the play. The second-year Pro Bowler with now 13.5 sacks on the year.
Well, Stanley never leaves his stance. That's one of Garrett's easier sacks he's going to get.
Timeout called by the Ravens. Garrett, who came into the week with as many sacks as Khalil Mack of the Chicago Bears. Tied for 6th most in the league coming into week 17. Of course, Super Bowl season for us is starting to draw near, and this Ravens franchise, the story of Super Bowl 35 against the Giants, gave up only 152 yards to New York, a 34-7 win for Coach Billick and the Ravens down in Tampa. And we'll be in Atlanta 5 weeks' time. Over the top they go, and unable to make the catch is Montgomery.
Boy, that was a nice little touch pass that's just dropping, and Montgomery just needs to slow his body there. He just wanted to catch it and go score a touchdown. And yes, Jackson could have thrown it further, and he knows it. But I think he could have came back and caught that one.
We just saw that video of the 2000 Super Bowl champions. This team's an awful lot like that one, Tony.
Well, they're dominant on defense, number 1. And I'll tell you, that 2000 team is rare, okay? We're not going to put anybody up there yet. But
there's the blitz. And well defended that time by Terrence Mitchell, denying John Brown.
But I do think that there's rare cases in the NFL where teams come up with a new scheme or something that's a little different that gives a lot of people trouble. Seattle, everyone thought, just played cover 3. It was a brand new cover 3 no one had seen. So you ran your cover 3 plays as an offense, and it didn't work. And then they had good players, so it was like, years it took for people to solve that. I think Baltimore's doing a little bit of that with some of their pressure packages.
And Mayfield and company will once again take over the football inside the 10-yard line. 36 seconds to go. And the Verizon halftime report coming up as you see Coach Cowher holding court. He's going to be honored the week of the Super Bowl in Atlanta with the Pat Summerall Award, a great fundraising event for the March of Dimes.
I don't know for sure, but are you on that list of possible
anything
recipients?
that can link your name with Pat Summerall is one of life's great honors.
That's true. He was a legend. I remember watching him and John Madden in the booth all those years.
And I got to work 10 years as his understudy and as his colleague on golf. What a man. 36 seconds to go first half.
You got to be careful if you're Cleveland here. This is a very aggressive defense.
Pass threaded. Callaway on the run and out of bounds. So a good gain to give them a chance to do a little something here with 29 seconds, gain of 21.
Yeah, well, it's just a great job, Mayfield. Be calm. When you're standing in that end zone, you just don't feel that comfortable. You know you got to get the ball out of your hands. But great job by him having a little patience, waiting for the corner route that flattens the sideline to come open. And now you can get a little more aggressive here.
Browns do have 2 timeouts. They pick up the blitz. This is where he's so dangerous, improvising, and the pass is wide and incomplete. Thrown to Johnson with Levine on the coverage. The play took 8 seconds. Mayfield 7 out of 16 for 126 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks.
And there was nobody open until the very end. And he scanned the whole field, went through every receiver and nothing, and then he tries to create.
John Harbaugh telling us that Mayfield's best traits in college have transferred over to the NFL. You don't always see that.
Very true.
High praise he had for the Browns rookie quarterback. 2nd and 10. From the pocket. Twice he thought about loading it up. Now in trouble. Goes down the middle. He's got his man. What a play. They've got the 2 timeouts. They should take one quickly. They do at 8 seconds. That was Higgins with the catch.
Oh, my goodness. Where do you see this play? And this is a great job by Higgins coming in the middle. But Baker wanted to throw this ball 8 times. Watch him just in this pocket. He's like, okay, little pressure. Throw it. Nope. Throw it. Nope. Throw it. Nope. I got to move.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, throw it. Nope. Okay, I have to.
This is why Harbaugh called him like a greased pig in the pocket. Remember that? But he compared him, in fact, both Harbaugh and Greg Williams compared him to Fran Tarkington, because you hear so much about Drew Brees being the guy that, because of his stature, around 6'1", 6 foot, but it's really more, if you know from back in those days, Tarkington could create plays. It's very similar, and both the coaches pointed that out. He's looking at his hand. He hit the helmet on the throw. And they're going to try one more play. Again, they have 1 timeout to work with. 8 seconds. From here, it'd be about 51-yard kick.
And you can throw the ball in bounds. You can throw it there. The hard part is if he starts scrambling. He's got to have an internal clock to throw it out of bounds if you scramble.
Flag at the line of scrimmage. And that was intended for Perriman. I'll tell you, if it's against Cleveland, which it probably is pre-snap, now that makes it a really long field goal try for Joseph.
Offside. Defense, number 29, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So make that a better try for Joseph. The ball gets spotted at 28, so 46 yards it'll be. Joseph, who kicked the 37-yard game winner in overtime back in October against the Ravens. He got signed after Zane Gonzalez was cut early in the season. He's 16 out of 18 on the year. 46-yard kick to close the half. Make it a 10-point game. Kick by Joseph. It is wide of the mark. Mayfield did a great job getting them in range.
Boy, they needed that 3 points too, and just, I thought that thing was gonna go in that side. And just out wide, but we got ourselves a game. Cleveland's in it.
Baltimore leads it 27 at the intermission. Halftime next, after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads the league in touchdowns?
Well, the stats here are one-sided, as you would expect. 19 minutes to 11 time of possession, and the Ravens piling up 179 yards rushing the football. But unless the Browns figure out a way here how to stop the running game, they're not going to be able to work their way back into this contest.
No, this game is over if they're not going to slow the run down, because they're going to get 3 possessions if it continues, maybe 4, and you just can't let them run this A-gap dive where they just come right at you, and you're just kind of like, which way am I go? Oh, they're right at us, 6-8 yards, and then all of a sudden it's outside and pop for 30, because then everyone gets caught looking in the wrong spots. I really believe if I'm Cleveland, I'm going cover 0, and we're coming after you. Right? And I'm not letting this, you are not running the ball in between the tackles. You're going to take everything wide, and I'll play my guys one-on-one on the edge with Lamar, and he'll make a miss once, but we'll tackle him as well and get off the field at different times.
Well, Baltimore deferred at the top, so Joseph, who missed that 46-yard attempt to close out the first half, will send it down the way. Chris Moore is the returner, and he's backpedaling and will not entertain any idea of running that one out. Let's get the halftime report from Tracy.
Well, Jim, as you guys mentioned, Greg Williams feels like they could be right in this game except for that goal line play. He was extremely frustrated. He said he felt as though this has happened to them several times this year. He said he can't say what he wants to say because he doesn't want to be fined. As for adjustments, though, defensively, it starts at the point of attack. Tackling, that will be the key. Offensively, he said expect them to go faster and more chunk plays from Baker. Jim?
They're going to need that. Thank you, Tracy. As you saw another replay of the goal line fumble. Here's a handoff. No, it's a keep. And he's dragged down after 3. The sequence of events that negated the chance for Peppers to run it all the way back for a score is the side judge raised his hand signaling touchdown. Basically, at that point, that then draws a whistle from another member of the crew, and it's the play is over. You know, like you said in the first half, what's the big hurry to rule touchdown? You know, before you can let this thing just go ahead and play out just in case, a scenario like what we saw.
Which would make this dramatically different from a score perspective, obviously, but...
2nd and 8. And Jackson plants the feet and fires it for the first down. Andrews has the catch at the 36, gain of 8.
You know what's interesting is this, sometimes in high school football, you know, growing up in Wisconsin, everybody ran these type of, you know, running plays in this, you know, type of offense. And what you found is everybody ran a 5-2 defense. So you saw 5 D linemen, but no one runs 5 D linemen in the NFL because teams throw the ball now, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, when is someone just going to come in and say, we're going to run 5 D linemen, so we got 5 guys right up here, and we're going to go ahead and...
False start, offense number 79, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And it's almost like, well, if they're going to go bring in hall school and college stuff, well, let's go do that on defense.
Yeah, let's bring the old
These high schools have been going against it for years. Yeah.
out for this, too.
And so you don't see, I mean, everyone's still got 4 D linemen, or they put 3 in there, and I'm like, at some point you're going to see 5 D linemen, and then when they start doing that, you're going to have to throw the football.
1st and 15 from the 30. Edwards stacked up. He's only been tackled 1 time this year, Edwards, for a loss. 1 time out of 132 carries. That percentage of tackles for a loss is the best by any running back in the league by a mile. As he's going to come out of the game right now. He's been contained by what recent standards have been for him. 7 carries for 37, 5 yards a clip again.
And we went into the game thinking this was going to be a little bit tougher for him, but some of the other big runs have really been...
Here's Peppers coming in on Jackson. He has to throw it away over the head of Montgomery. Peppers a fraction away from being able to get to him.
Well, watch the outside part right over here. We're going to see 2 guys rush, and Peppers does a great job not allowing Dixon to square him up and block him, and he runs around the edge, and Jackson feels that pressure and has to get it out.
Hey, spread 53. Alert.
3rd and 14.
No. We're out.
Cat and mouse game. No safety in the middle of the field.
Here comes the blitz and the pressure. Jackson getting chased. And it's caught out of bounds by Mitchell. That was some pressure by Ogba. And the Ravens offense taken off the field after 1 first down picked up. What will Mayfield have up his sleeve here in the second half? Can he put up, well, he threw 166 yards in the first half.
It was the 2 interceptions that kind of hurt, just for the, you know, when that happens, the feelings that you're obviously not doing well, but they had some big plays there, but he had to create a couple of them. There's really only 1 or 2 designed great plays. One was a touchdown, though.
There's a run back by Callaway. Somehow he got free. And what a run back it is. Callaway.
Well, they have a chance now. No flags on the field. I'm like, there's always a flag.
I was looking for one myself.
There's nothing there.
It's a 37-yard run back after a 53-yard punt. Tiptoes down the sideline. And the Browns have it near midfield. We're back with the Browns. First handle of the second half.
And here comes the empty formation. No running back in the backfield. He motioned him, see who's coming.
Mayfield, grab it and throw it. He's got Landry for the touchdown. One play and a strike. And Mayfield ties the rookie touchdown pass record.
This is, yeah, I'm telling you, Freddie Kitchens, did you see the quarterback just fake pump it? So he's going to motion him. He's going to fake the ball to him, and just a straight streak. But look at the eyes and the eyes. This is really what you should watch.
And watch the little bobble he has. It's like he throws it, tosses it to himself.
And that right there is what Baltimore kind of bid on. Almost what Baltimore does to you with all that misdirection stuff. Freddie Kitchens designs an incredible play, and then Baker Mayfield magic right up the seam.
Well, that didn't take long. 48 yards. You're not saying the bobble was intentional, are you?
It was intentional.
It was intentional.
It's a fake. It's
Look
like
at this.
faking it to him.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. Subway, now delivering to your front door. And by Honda. Hurry into the Happy Honda Days sales event today.
20-14 suddenly as Mayfield joins Manning and Wilson. Most touchdown passes by a rookie with 26. And again, the other two started all 16 games. This is the 13th start for Mayfield.
Love to see a young quarterback throw an interception, come back, throw touchdowns, have stuff not go your way, come back. He does it all the time.
Well, how about some of the older quarterbacks as we look at the early headlines, namely Tom Brady.
I still think you got to go through that team.
Yep.
I don't care what anyone says. They don't look as good. You're going through New England.
Houston takes the AFC South, holding the Jags to just a field goal today. Watson with a big game, especially on the ground. Cowboys outlast the Giants. They go for 2 to win it. Of course, the Cowboys were going to be the 4 in the NFC no matter what, but they win it today anyway. Finish off a nice turnaround on their season. We saw them mid-year down at Washington lose. And who would have thought later on they'd be this good as Jackson has his pass knocked down. Ogbah again making a play.
Yeah, he did. Talked about Dallas and that incredible finish to the season, and there's the AFC.
Yeah, Kansas City's well on its way, up 28-3 in the third to winning the West and the 1 seed, which would then line up New England at the 2, Houston at the 3, and again the AFC South winner at the 4. Baltimore leading by 6 here. Again, the Steelers have been kept out of the end zone. They must win. Pittsburgh must win and hope for a Cleveland victory. It's Montgomery. Back, let's get another update. Let's go back to JP and Boomer.
Nick Foles' magic continues.
Man, how about this? 6 yards to Nelson Aguilar. Nick Foles, 28 of 32, 221 yards, 2 TDs. At one point, he had 25 in a row in this game. The Eagles now lead 17-0 over the Redskins.
Simply amazing. Back to Jim Nance.
Nick Foles this time of year. And again, they get in with a win and a Minnesota loss.
And I think Minnesota's losing.
Yes, they are down 10, 13-3. Hand off to Dixon to the 49-yard line. So right now the Eagles look like they're going to be able to take a playoff spot. Still time to go, of course, in that Minnesota-Chicago game. Vikings with a win would get in.
Yes, and I think you see just another downhill run right behind Hurst. But Philly gets in with Foles. Talk about Mayfield magic. There's nothing like Foles magic right now. I mean, it's
Foles late in the year
level magic because what did they say? He completed like 104 passes in a row today so far.
I think it's 105.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. He just comes in there and does that.
This is unbelievable too. Edwards into the secondary down to the 32.
It's just the same motion across. We've said it all game, and then he's just going to run right down the middle.
This guy runs a straight line, Tony, about as good as anybody ever see.
He does a great job. He's a straight downhill runner, and he has a great little wiggle to go into either gap. He can go on either side of the center. But let's give credit to this offensive line. They're moving the middle of that line and creating those holes. I mean, this is an impressive front that Baltimore has.
3 straight runs for at least 10 yards. Make it 4. As Jackson takes off to the end zone and somersaults in. We got a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
So take it away on a holding call against Max Williams.
Oh my goodness. Cleveland catches a little break. But watch, he's in motion, and you'll see right here, it's a little bit of a grab there. It would not have mattered at all. That would have been a touchdown. But does he grab him right there? Just pulls Randall, and it is a good call. He holds him. Would it have mattered? No, but it was a hold.
Jackson, who has 2 rushing touchdowns, could have 4.
Well, they ran that same play. They just kept it that time.
Spot foul, and it's Jackson keeping it. And collides with a couple of Browns after a gain of about 3. We got a Brown down. Ogunjobi. A big collision with his teammate, I believe. And we'll step aside. Injury timeout. Back after Ogunjobi got helmet-to-helmet collision with his teammate Peppers. Boom. And he's been taken to the blue tent for examination. Pepper stays in on the field. It's a 2nd and 11. Ravens at the 34. Dixon, another big chunk. Dixon now goes over 100 with that carry on just 7 attempts. 7 for 101.
It's just shocking in the NFL that you can just come out and run the ball and get 10 yards. I mean, what are they averaging today?
They got 243.
Okay, that's
on 29 attempts.
That's on you then. I'm gonna let you do
That's
that.
about 8 per carry, roughly. Here's Jackson. I mean, that'll hurt the average, but pick up a first down.
Did you even think there's a chance right there that there's like, oh, they won't get 2 yards? Everyone on earth knows you're running it. It's like it used to be like, oh, you got to keep them, balanced, and it's just constantly pulling the left side of this line. Hurst just pulled 10 times in this game, I bet, and Stanley even pulled on that one.
You set it downs at the 22.
There he
Marty
is.
Morningwig.
Marty Morningwig and Greg Roman together are coming up with an incredible plan on how this, and they just keep motioning guys back. I bet you he even motions back again. Oh, shocking.
Up the middle with a gain of 3 for Edwards. Back to this coaching staff. And we visiting with them this week, talking to Coach Harbaugh. How fulfilling is it to come up with something that no one else is doing in the league, and it's sustaining itself? This is the 7th week of running it, and no one's been able to solve the riddle so far.
Well, and the hard part is they have good players. So, Marty Morningwig, John Harbaugh, Greg Roman, these guys have put this together. But now you got to start to say, they've done a lot of stuff against it. These players are dominating the line of scrimmage, and you have good, talented football players.
2nd and 8, Jackson has to take a loss of 1, hit by Peppers. Update time. Back to the studio.
Vikings are in with the win.
Yeah, a little fight here for Kirk Cousins and Stephon Diggs. 2-yard touchdown pass, 12 plays, 92 yards. They inch closer to the Bears. Bears still lead 13-10.
1:51 left in the 3rd. Back to Jim Nantz.
Okay, so the Bears lead by 3, but all they have to do is look up and see that the Rams are winning 38-10, so they're not going to be able to overtake them for the 2 seed, so they've lost a little incentive as Jackson is taken down for a sack at the 26 by Jamie Collins.
Same way they got off the field earlier. It's all-out pressure. We call it cover 0, which means everybody has no help. And you have to get the ball out of your hands, Jackson, because they cannot block that guy. He's 1 extra.
We got a Brown defender on the field back at the 5-yard line. It's Randall. which will bring things to a stop before Tucker's 44-yard attempt. Randall picked up in that trade with the Packers in the offseason. They sent last year's starter for the Browns quarterback, DeShone Kizer, to Green Bay. He saw action today, and that one the bulk of the way as Aaron Rodgers was concussed early. So here's Tucker. He's 2 for 2 today, 38 and 35. Trying to finish off a drive that lasted over 5 minutes to make it a 2-score game again. Cook on the hold. Morgan Cox snaps it back, and the kick by Tucker. Once again, it's good. His 34th make of the year. 23-14 Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. Possibilities, what we deliver by delivery. And by Farmers Insurance.
Back in Charm City and the magnificent harbor area. Such a fun place to gather. And right here in the heart of downtown, this stadium that's one of the most raucous sights in the entire league. Trying to get the Ravens home and back into the postseason, where they were pretty much regulars at the start of John Harbaugh's career. And again, trying to get back in for the first time since 14. Here's Callaway. He's had a big punt return in this game, in this half. And now the kick return out to the 35. And Tucker kind of helped mix that one up. We've got an update. JB, all yours.
Pittsburgh helping themselves.
Well, they finally wake up here in the second half. This is Ben Roethlisberger, wide receiver screen. Juju Smith-Schuster, 11 yards. Score tied now at 10-10. Ben goes over 5,000 yards passing, 7th quarterback to do that in NFL history.
Late in the third, Jim Nance.
All right, so the Steelers.
You just knew. You just knew this wasn't just going to go away and be an easy day.
And the Steeler fans and faithful keeping an eye on that one and this one.
It looked like the Ravens are up 20-7, about to score, and Pittsburgh was down 10-0. It's going to be an easy day.
How fast it changed. Now, there is one other scenario, which I hate to bring up, but if the Ravens and the Steelers both win, the Steelers could still get in tonight one way. A tie between the Titans and the Colts. All right, there have been 2 ties in the league this year. 2 out of 216 games. A little less than 0.04% chance if you take the odds of the season. But that would still give them some chance. You mean you're telling me we have it?
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah.
Okay. What was all that 1 in a million talk, Jim?
2nd and 14. And that's over to Fells with Jefferson right on him. Njoku, their tight end, who's had some big games this year. Well, he has not been targeted. That's Fells, who's one of the backups.
Listen to this place. They feel it right now. They know this season's getting close. This drive is...
Yep.
You know, they just gave up a touchdown coming out the second half, and now Baker, you got to do something special again, because they're going to see a lot of guys on that line of scrimmage. Pick out who's coming, signal, tell them, or have a great play.
3rd and 11. They bring 5. Cleveland goes deep, and Callaway was the target, but Smith, who's had a monster game, was right with them. And they'll take the Browns offense off the field.
I do love Cleveland motioning, getting into weird sets. It's how you throw off Baltimore. They've got to communicate because they got such exotic pressures that you can get one that's busted once in a blue moon. And it hasn't happened very often this year, but Cleveland has done it. Tried to do it again. Baltimore was ready.
4th punt of the day for Colquitt. And another fair catch. Pulled in by Cyrus Jones. 45-yard punt. Well, there's a name in this game that has ties to both Cleveland and Baltimore. The Hall of Famer. One of the great credits to the game, Ozzie Newsome. the general manager and executive vice president of the Ravens. This is his last season as the GM for this team. Of course, he made the Hall of Fame, still holds the record for most receiving yards in Cleveland Browns history. Their first-round pick 40 years ago.
And he's built, I mean, remember his first 2 picks?
Well, he had 2 first-round picks, and they both became first-ballot Hall of Famers. Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis. Of course, he got into the front office right after his playing career ended. He played for Cleveland 78 through 90. In 91, Art Modell said, "Hey, you're staying with this franchise," and he did. He came into the front office, and once the franchise migrated to Baltimore and his responsibilities grew, and my goodness, what he's done to lead this franchise to 2 Super Bowl titles in Baltimore.
He's really almost one of those rare 3 or 4 guys that come to mind right away. It's like a standard you're trying to find as an owner. That's the guy you want. That type of vision.
Flag down as Snead.
And I do think he's the rare guy that I think there's 3 ways, and I'm not going to tell you the other 2. Those are my secrets for you, Jim.
Okay.
But one of the ways to win in the NFL and really separate yourself is your ability to evaluate talent and just watch tape and be better than others at figuring out who's going to be
Pass
better.
interference. Offense number 15. Blocking downfield. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
And I really think that that's a gift of his ability to look at tape, see who's going to be good. And this call is very much disliked here
not
in the
well
stadium.
received. Now, you're going to hold out on me? You're not going to give me all the secrets to success?
No. I actually have no secrets to success. Just how to win football games. Oh, he was just running a slant. They called Crabtree for blocking. Just a slant and a flat route.
Back to the 12-yard line, 2nd and 19. Another big run for Dixon, who's been averaging about 13 yards a carry. That goes for 7. Down to Tracy.
Jim, 2 defensive starters in the locker room for the Browns right now. Defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi, who we saw took a helmet-to-helmet hit with his teammate Jabril Peppers. He's in the locker room being evaluated for concussion, return questionable, and free safety Demarius Randall dealing with cramps. He is probable to return, though, Jim.
Okay, Anthony Zettel has come out there for the Browns in place of Ogunjobi. Whitehead in the secondary, and on 3rd and 12, the Ravens are able to get within about a yard. There's Whitehead, I just mentioned, to come in for Randall, makes the tackle, about 2 yards shy of the first. And they're going to go ahead and bring out Cook to punt. So the offensive pass interference call spoiled that series for the Ravens.
Well, it was a bad call, I'll say that. But, you know, there have been a lot of calls that have gone both ways this game that each side's going to be very upset about. It's all going to come down to the last 10 minutes of all these games most of the time anyway. Ups and downs, just got to stay level-headed and go try and win the game at the end.
Here's Cook, who just recently had his 1,000th career punt. Been a good one for a long time. Off the second hop, it's Callaway. And steps out after about a 5-yard run back. 56-yard boot, and tomorrow we're going to send it down to El Paso. Get your New Year's Eve celebration started with the Sun Bowl, the great tradition of CBS being in El Paso to bring you the Sun Bowl. Stanford and Pitt tomorrow at 2 Eastern, right here on CBS. 7 times I had the pleasure of being down there for that game, and that great community that supports that bowl game every year.
Nothing like the Sun Bowl.
I'm going to tell you, it's
the granddaddy of them all, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
I think I may have heard that somewhere else. 1st and 10. Deep ball. And it's caught! Njoku, we had just mentioned on the last series.
You just called him.
Where's he been?
They heard you. And he's not even that open. He's got a deep over route, like a seam. And you see standing there is Humphrey looking at the ball. And it's just that one guy goes and boxes out the other, and it is a perfect throw.
It's a basketball play.
It's a basketball play.
Just go ahead and box out for the rebound.
And you're exactly right. Sorry, Jim, but Baker's ability to be accurate on stuff like that is really a high level. That's how he's thrown so many touchdowns this year. You know, he's got a lot to learn, a lot to go, but he's really, really accurate.
That went for 42. Swings it over. Perriman collides with 3 of his former teammates and taken down for a loss of 1 or 2. C.J. Mosley in on that play. Ball at the 37.
40.
Chubbs had only 7 carries today, 7 for 25. He's lined up behind Mayfield. And they go to him here. And Zadarius Smith able to throw him to the ground after 4. Chubb, who's become a 1,000-yard rusher on the season earlier in this game. Cleveland's first since Peyton Hillis back in 2010.
It's just that, like we said, when they got behind so early, it just gets hard to keep running the football when you need points and possessions. And it's kind of minimized him in this game a little bit in his strength. But here we go, 3rd and 8. Once again, all the pressure up at the line. Is he coming or no? Weddle. Oh, look at, he's looking at him. Is he coming? No.
He backs off. They rush 4. Pass near the first down yardage, and he's got it. That's Higgins, who he has a good rapport with. Talking to Mayfield last night, he said, you know, we spent a lot of time earlier in the year being on the second team. We've got good chemistry.
Yeah, and they do. And Baker, watch this. This is why it works. His feet aren't ready to throw here, and he has to get it out so fast so his player can run with it. Otherwise, Higgins isn't going to get that first down. There's so many small little plays that I look for quarterbacks to really tell their ceiling. When your feet aren't set and you got to throw it because it's the only way he can run after the catch and get the first down on 3rd and 8 on a little pass, that tells you his brain works fast.
Final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Fakes to the left, goes to the right to Chubb. And look at the Ravens swarming to stop him to close out quarter number 3. Michael Pierce and a whole host of Ravens, but we're heading to the 4th. And a good one's going on here in Baltimore. "15 minutes to go in regulation here. The Ravens, with a win, would take the AFC North. Cleveland driving to start the final quarter. A 2nd and 12 with the ball at the Baltimore 24. Browns hanging in after getting run over in the first half. As far as a ground attack by the Ravens. Mayfield in all kinds of trouble. Oh, and he takes a punishing blow back at about the 35. He could not wiggle his way out of that one, and a flag is out. Browns think it's going to be on the Ravens secondary.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 29, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Called on Humphrey, who got boxed out on the long play that set him up here deep. On the throw to Njoku.
Well, that's a hold. I mean, at some point, you got to let him go.
He held him for 10 yards. I think that would be a hold.
Oh, coach, he's going to look up and be like, I didn't see much. I mean,
much there.
He wanted to, like, go crazy, but he's like, I didn't see a lot. But he's never going to completely be like, you're right, that was a good call.
Sets him up in the red zone.
Another empty formation.
Mayfield in the red zone this year, 19 touchdowns, no picks. And that was intended for Chubb. He's got spectacular numbers in the red zone. Again, with 19 touchdown passes, no interceptions. But in talking to him last night, he felt like they've had too many breakdowns overall as a team inside the 20.
Well, and they have, but like you said, their ability in the red zone, and they're 6th in the league, a lot of it stems from their 2 reasons. 1, your ability to run the football makes defenses give you run looks. 2, your ability for a quarterback to extend plays and create and have vision, and he has that in spades.
2nd and 10. Back over to Higgins and drop quickly. Nice piece of tackling, Tony Jefferson. Holds him to 2. There's a field goal here still would be enormously helpful for Cleveland. But
yeah, one-score game, yeah. I think right now, though, that was a screen pass to receivers thinking they're pressuring. Baltimore didn't pressure. Once Baltimore, I feel like if Baltimore sees screen, then they come back with a pressure because they're like, you don't screen twice in a row. But we'll see, because they just had some success not coming after him. But they're coming after him here.
Look at all of them on the line. Here they come. Over the top they go. And thrown in the area if Njoku, as Mayfield had to get rid of it quickly. I mean, Baltimore brought just about everybody.
Well, if you just look at all these people, just all of them come. Just come on, everybody. Just come on. The ball has to come out. And this is where this will be interesting. If Baltimore were to get in the playoffs, they do this to a lot of teams, and it's hard to come up with a great play. Well, Tom Brady's going to give you a cadence, and then you know what he's going to do? He's going to call a screen pass outside right there. Big field goal here.
Got to have it, 35 yards. Joseph. And that kick is good. Bring it down to a one-score game at 23-17. Here's what the rookie quarterbacks have done today. Mayfield 268 yards passing, 2-2. Jackson with 78 yards on the ground, including a couple of rush touchdowns. And Jackson and the Ravens about to get the football back, just inside 14 minutes to go.
Both impressive young men though, aren't they, Jim? I mean, you're really you see their unique abilities.
Well, you look at the draft and you see what Darnold is going to be. You've always been high on him with the Jets. That was not a great day today for him, but in recent weeks, he's showing you what he's got. Here's the kick. Willie Snead's back deep, by the way. He's not had a kick return this year, and he's going to take it at the 4. Gets hit early, and he's down at the 15. There was quick contact on him.
But you got to give credit to John Dorsey, right?
Big time.
I mean, this is as good a draft, and to bring in what he brought in here this year has really changed this culture around.
Well, first off, how about you go and make the first pick, Mayfield, and you're able to keep that under wraps until basically the last hours leading into the draft day.
And then that was an upset pick. I didn't see that coming.
You know, it's amazing how many times
it's a great pick. I think everyone would be like,
how many times have
we
we heard
a good job now, but not at that time.
Yeah. Here's Jackson's pass. Complete to Hurst. And he takes it all the way near midfield.
Well, just watch right here, Snead. Same thing he did earlier. Let's fake it. Browns get moving with the fake again. And there's Baltimore gashing them. Great job by Hurst finding that spot. Earlier it was Willie Snead.
Boy, Hurst able to fight off a tackle like he didn't even get any contact on him. He just absorbed the hit and kept on going.
That's kind of what you do.
Yeah.
Really,
people don't know that. Here's Jackson keeping it. And he falls at the 45, picks up 6. Update time it is. JP and Boomer in New York.
As Coach Cowher said, Chicago wants momentum.
I'll tell you what, Bears came to play. Tariq Cohen 3 yards out, takes it in for the touchdown. Bears extend their lead 21-10 over the Vikings. Eagles currently leading the Redskins 24-0. If the Bears lose and the Eagles win, they will make it to the playoffs.
Jim Nance.
Yeah, the Vikings in with a win, but they're down with Chicago scoring that touchdown to go up 10.
That is, we need to talk about that after this play, Jim.
2nd and 4. With toss wide of the mark. Well, it's an interesting thing if you're the Bears and you end up losing. Of course, you still got Seattle, Arizona out there that could change the seeding, and that's a tight game tied at 21. But you could end up, if you're the Bears, if Minnesota comes back and wins, you could end up hosting them next week at Soldier Field.
It's almost one of those rare cases where it's like, okay, we're playing this team next week if we lose. Do we love this matchup? We could rest our guys. Right. We could possibly just most likely play them next week. Or we could beat them and knock them out and play someone else. As a coach, do you even think that way? They do. They just don't admit it.
3rd and 4. And it's Dixon. And he stretches out. He's going to be short. By the way, the Steelers have just kicked a field goal with 8.5 minutes to go to take the lead on the Bengals at 13-10.
Baltimore needs to win this game. I think Steelers are going to end up winning that game, even though they're in a dogfight, it looks like. Baltimore is going to have A fourth down possibility. What do you do?
Check the spot on this one, Tony. First down's right on the 41.
Dixon is just
Yeah,
short.
short of it there. In fact, they may have gotten even a favorable marking.
Well, you're going to
looking
go
across the way.
Yeah, because he's down right there. Ooh, yeah, you're right.
If they got the first here, Cleveland might want to challenge this.
Oh.
I think that was. I don't think that was marked properly.
You got to challenge this one.
I mean, you could see that he was down about a foot short of the 41.
His knee's down there. So A, the ball doesn't get there. B, he was down even shorter than that. And they're not gonna. They're gonna snap this.
Okay. They go on with it. And Edwards takes it for 5. And let's get the update on that Steelers story. Back to you, JB, in the studio.
They're keeping them.
Well, here it is, Jim. It's Matt McCrane, 47-yard field goal. That's the second field goal of the day for the young kicker who is making his debut for the Steelers. As you said, they take the lead now over the Bengals, 13-10.
8:35 left in regulation there. Back to Jim Nance.
Okay, McCrane gets signed this week after they put Boswell on injured reserve late in the week. 2nd and 5. There go Edwards, spinning away and driving down to the Cleveland 24.
Max Williams going to motion across for the 51st time in this game, and they're going to hand it right down the middle. And just, there's really not a whole lot Cleveland can do because they are getting dominated on the inside part of the line.
Edwards now with 11 carries for 74 yards. They're moving in on 300 yards rushing. And the most, look, in the 7 games here, the 7-game stretch, it's the most since the 77 Bears. They got Peppers dinged and on the bench and not anxious to come out of this game. So back to the Walter Payton-led Bears of 77. You talk about a 7-game span of dominating on the ground.
Well, when you mix scheme, you mix talented players, you miss a quarterback, and you mix in-season quarterback change, it's hard to get a ton of tape. There's no off-season study on it.
There's Dixon. Nice little jump cut to avoid the loss. Picks up 2. Already deep into field goal range here with a chance to take this back up to a 2-score game.
I love what Cleveland did there. Watch this adjustment. See the D-line? Now watch before the snap. Here we go. Everyone, this is the play we're running. I'm Baltimore. I'm going to run this. Oh, they just all of a sudden went way down, condensed the line, and now all the blocking scheme that they communicated was gone. Did it again right here.
Fake it this time. Jackson with pressure, able to throw it across his body and find Andrews. Nice play by Lamar Jackson. TJ Carey was coming after him.
That's a corner blitz, and this, I mean, schematically is awesome by Greg Williams. Take away the run, blitz the quarterback on the edge, but you can't account for the quarterback being better and his ability to move outside and just create and move the chains. That's all Lamar Jackson right there. And and Andrews knows it. That was fantastic.
1st and goal. Right at the 10. He takes the snap one-handed and then tumbles for about a yard. TJ Carey, who blitzed on that last play, tripped him up on this one.
And you know what? I feel so good. Just going to snap me the ball, and I'm just going to grab it with one hand like it's nothing.
Velcro.
He's really feeling the pressure, isn't he?
Yeah. 2 exciting young quarterbacks that are going to be tangling in this division for years to come.
For years. Now that's not a tackle, that's a tight end over there.
And that's Edwards. And he gets stopped near the 7. It'll be 3rd and goal, 7 yards out.
Baltimore doing a good job. You see Peppers come back in the game.
Good to have him back for a critical third down if you're Cleveland.
And you got to, right here's really this rare position where it's like they may hand this ball off. It's the only team in the league who might just say, we're going to hand the ball off on third down and go from the 7.
Well, maybe Jackson will keep it the way he's been going.
That was going to be a run.
Timeout called by Baltimore.
First charge timeout, Baltimore.
It's been a 5.5-minute drive to bring the clock down to about 8 minutes.
And there's John Harbaugh. I want to give him credit. I think he's not underrated, okay? But there's a little bit of talk here and there about him as a coach, coming back or not. And to me, I really believe he's one of the top-end coaches in the National Football League. What he did, he told his defense and Martindale the vision that he wanted for this defense. This is what I want to do. I want to do this on defense. I want to start doing this. And he went out and said, nope, do it this way. Do it this way. He deserves a ton of credit for this defensive philosophy and what they're doing this year. That was him in the offseason. And you know how much time it took to change terminology and some of the stuff to get it? And then Martindale and him did it together. Everyone knows about their offense and what he's done, but that.
All right, somebody jump. And on the far side, his first signal was against the Ravens, but his call's on a summit. Sean Smith now will settle it.
False start. Offense, number 89. 5-yard penalty. Man's third down.
Just to tag your comment on Harbaugh, before this stretch of 5 wins in 6 games, you see the little bobble coming here on Andrews.
He did.
Before that, there was all this talk that maybe Harbaugh and the Ravens would part ways. And then once he figured out this new scheme and approach last half of the season, they said, hey, we're re-signing him. We're extending him.
They should.
If he had gone on the market, if they had parted ways,
he's number one.
He would be snapped up in about 2 seconds.
If I owned the team, I'd hire him. He's as good as you're going to get. I can promise you that's anywhere out there, and he's thoroughly impressive.
Now third and go all the way back at the 12. It's Jackson. Take the handoff to Montgomery. Takes it to the 5, and Tucker is going to attempt a 4th field goal of the day. Would like to welcome those of you who were watching Kansas City and Oakland. The Chiefs trounce the Raiders today 35-3 to lock up the AFC West and the #1 seed in the playoffs coming up on the AFC side.
So you're going through Kansas City is what you're telling me.
That's going to be a very difficult place to play in January. Although through the years it hasn't always been the case. It has gone the Chiefs' way. They've had some bobbles.
Yeah, they haven't had Patrick Mahomes there, though. And Tyreek Hill.
Here's 23 yards to make it, again, a 9-point margin. High snap. Cook did a good job getting it down. And Tucker's 4 for 4. 7:20 to go. Got a half a quarter to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year. KFC, it's finger-licking good. And by the Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
And again, we just mentioned the Kansas City audience has joined us. The 1, 2, 3, and 5 seeds are all set. We didn't have any seeds set coming into this Sunday. Now we know KC's the 1. Patriots are the 2. They've got first-round buys. In the Patriots' case, a 9th straight year. Houston to host a game next week against the winner of Indianapolis and Tennessee. That's tonight. And the Chargers are locked in at the 5 and will go against either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Of course, I mentioned the Pittsburgh tie scenario, but I don't think we'll have to go back and talk about fractions on that one. But Cleveland, you got 7:20 to go. You've shown flashes here of getting your act together offensively in the second half. What do you think we're going to see here with a half a quarter?
You're going to see them get an empty formation, or they should, because that's all their big plays have come from something like that. And honestly, I think you got to just, Baker's going to have to move around and make plays and do something, a little bit unique, and not for him unique. But I just don't think you can just systematically go up and down the field on this Baltimore defense. You got to create big plays. And of course, let's come out and hand it off just to the right. They got to play action this. with everything you got.
There's your play action. They pick up the blitzer and they dump it off. Njoku sheds a tackle, takes it near the 40. That's a gain of 14. Brought down by Terrell Suggs, who's playing in his 229th game today and sets the Ravens franchise record. That's one more than Ray Lewis ever played. You had a visit with Ray Lewis before the game?
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of reminds me of like Jordan and Scotty a little bit, right? Where it's like, you got Ray Lewis, he's Jordan, and Suggs is Scotty, but they were both like on the dream team. And
great job by Njoku to make something out of that. Here's the handoff. Chubb breaks the tackle. Mayfield trying to get out to throw a block that's not going to be necessary because Owasso tackles him for a big loss. Last week's AFC Defender of the Week, Patrick Owasso, had 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble against the Chargers. Gets a tackle for a 5-yard loss.
This is the drive for Baltimore right now. Look at that in this half. Shutting Cleveland's run game down completely. You do not want this game. Cleveland, you do not want to let any points go on the board on this drive. Don't make it come down to a Cincinnati miracle like last year. And now you see the 4 wides out of empty. They've hurt him with this.
Here's the snap. Mayfield goes underneath. Njoku again trying to break tackles. And he's able to get it out to about the 40. It'll set up a 3rd down, 3rd and 8. Do you think they're in 4-down territory yet? Inside 6?
Absolutely. You're in 4-down territory. Unless you're trying to catch a flight.
By the way, that loss for Chubb of 5 yards, he lost his 1,000-yard season.
Oh, that hurts. And he's not going to get another opportunity.
Probably not. He went from 1,001 to 996.
Oh, Baltimore fans, you're going to come after this guy in this play. Your seasons are getting close to being on the line. You're going to be who you are.
Here come the Ravens. Mayfield's pass caught. Landry tiptoeing, and he's finally whistled out. They mark him actually back at the Baltimore 47.
Just an outstanding throw. This is the corner he's looking at. He's got to stare at that guy. And to throw that ball is really a high-level decision and throw, and he was in. But that was close. Good job by Landry.
No huddle for the Browns. Pass quickly. Over to Higgins. Blocker in front. Njoku blocking on Jefferson, who's able to finally fight off the block and make the tackle.
They finally got the screen versus the pressure right off the edge. And you kept calling it, and what a block by Landry. And Njoku keeps it going.
33 yards on the play to Higgins.
And quickly they're coming back to the empty formation.
5-7.
Mayfield over 300 for the 2nd time this year against Baltimore.
He comes up, he says, they're not pressuring. Here's the thing. Come to the backfield, running back. Call a play and snap it.
Mayfield, draw. It's Johnson. Inside the 10 and out of bounds at the 6. So Mayfield goes over 300. A Ravens defense that has now allowed just 3 300-yard games on the year. As you see Johnson take it to about the 6. The 3 to throw for 300. Mahomes, Mayfield.
Some good young talent in this league at the quarterback position. And I'm telling you, this has an eerily feel. I think this team's different. But I'm telling you, if they score a touchdown here, Baltimore, they need to close out that game then on offense because they can't give it back to them.
2nd and 3 from the 6. Mayfield's pass caught. Fighting for it down to the 1 is Landry. And on 1st and goal at the 1.
Just a motion across and a simple route to the sideline. But the accuracy of Mayfield, see that off his back foot and how perfect on that side.
Spun it pretty good too.
Yeah, and he does it so the receiver can run after catch. A lot of quarterbacks, who are just good quarterbacks, they throw that and he kind of turns, or his body weight turns, and he never gets to turn the corner.
A yard away. By the way, the Steelers are tied and they're driving. They're at the 24 of the Bengals, so all kinds of things happening. AFC North up in the air as Mayfield throws to the end zone, and incomplete, it's ruled.
We're going to see. That was really
came
close
down with it. I guess the body was out of bounds, they ruled. This close to the rookie touchdown pass record.
Here we go. Let's see.
Oh,
Well, it's the ball. He's in bounds. It's if the ball
is moving.
It is. Yeah, he didn't have that.
Oh, does he not?
I don't think he had it.
Well, he's got it pinned against his body, against his hip. Do you want to risk losing a timeout you might need later? Or do you trust just a second and goal, you can save the timeout?
I think I would lose this, so I would wait. I would not challenge this. But if you're going to take a timeout, you challenge it.
Oh, they call a timeout. If you're gonna call a timeout, go ahead and just challenge it.
Well, that's the correct play. If you're going to, you don't call a timeout. Obviously, you're going to challenge it. It's close enough to do it. I just don't think it's going to be considered a touchdown.
So we saw the signal for a timeout first, then he threw the challenge flag, and he's going to go back and say, "Wait, I was trying to challenge it."
Yeah. And they should give that to you. I feel like that's one of those. Yeah, I get it. I know what you meant.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to lose 2 timeouts out of this. It was a great effort by Njoku.
So far, the refs haven't told us anything.
No, and it does not appear that it's...
Cleveland elected to not challenge the ruling on the field. 30-second timeout, second down.
Whoa.
So they did not issue the challenge. They just took a timeout.
We need to talk to Gene then, right?
Gene Steratore, what do you think of that?
What happened?
I agree with what both of you said. If we're going to use a challenge or a timeout, you might as well challenge it to get a chance. I think it's incomplete, but if you're going to waste the timeout, get a challenge out of it.
There's a touchdown throw to Callaway as Mayfield just zips it in there.
It's a screen pass, and the play is made actually by Higgins. 81, watch, I'm going to block you. No, I'm not. You don't hit him. You make him feel like you're going to pick him, and then you just make him go over the top of you, and that gets Callaway open for a simple screen.
His 5th touchdown of the year, but the bigger headline is that Mayfield now owns the all-time NFL rookie record with a 27th touchdown pass. Extra point is delivered with 3:24 to go.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna come down to the wire.
Did you expect anything else?
Nope.
Mayfield takes him 75 yards and 9 plays to bring it down to 26-24. Talking to Jarvis Landry last night. What did he tell us about his young quarterback in the huddle key moments? He looks at us and says, "We are not going to flinch." And they certainly didn't on that possession, even though maybe they thought for a moment that was a touchdown to Njoku. What must have happened just to clean that up is they must have gone over and said to Williams, "No, you call the timeout first. So if you want to challenge it, it could cost you a second if you lose the challenge." And he just went ahead and took the timeout.
Yeah.
And left it at that. And it's over the head of Ty Montgomery.
Well, here we go now. Lamar Jackson, all you have to do is have the fate of your team's season on your shoulders, as no one knows what's going on in that Pittsburgh game or how that's going to play out. I think they're probably tied right now, but here it is. Lamar Jackson, you ran the football. I think you stick with what you do. The problem is Cleveland made an adjustment that I loved on the last drive, reducing the front right before the snap. The D lineman starting wide and then moving down. Let's see if they do it again. Start wide, the D line, and then move down. There it is. And then you send the outside 2 guys, him and him.
Hand off to Dixon. And with that carry, they now have 296 yards on the ground. Can this team that's been so dominant running the football, can they grind out the last 3 minutes and change to win the division?
I think that's why you want to be able to run the football as a head coach, because you can close games out and it makes life easy on everybody. However, this is going to be difficult if they continue to run this front, which I think they're going to do on every play. You should know what you're getting, though, so you should be able to have an answer for it.
Montgomery is the running back. He gets the handle. And he's tackled down. About 5 yards short of first, third down on the way, and we're on our way to New York for an update.
Steelers needed this.
You know, Matt McCrane showed up Friday to the Steelers. He's kicking for them today. This is his third field goal of the day, a 35-yarder. They take the lead 16-13 over the Bengals. Under 2 minutes to go. Bengals have the ball.
Back to you, Jim Nance.
Okay, Cleveland took a timeout after that carry by Montgomery, so stopping the clock with 2:41 to go. Thank you, JB, Boomer, for all the great updates today. 3rd and 5 it'll be from the 30.
There's a lot of Ravens fans right now very nervous on this play because you're usually passing the ball on 3rd and 5, especially with your season on the line. You feel like they'd have to this time.
Corners come up for the Browns. Here's Jackson. Oh, a sloppy pitch, and Montgomery falls on it back at the 24, and Cleveland's getting the football back.
That is the issue with being a running team. If they do solve with a front, it's the same look 3 plays in a row. It takes away what you do.
Myles Garrett made a big play. He busted up this play. We're going to come after Jackson there and force the panic pitch.
And even with a good pitch, it wasn't going to get there.
Going nowhere.
It was really Cleveland's adjustment. Give Greg Williams in the last drive or two. And now you rely on the #1 defense in the league against Baker Mayfield,
who's thrown for 341 against you. 2 minutes to go. 2-point game in Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by USAA, official NFL salute to service partner. And by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
You want suspense? Pittsburgh's going to win the game. They have just gotten the ball back inside of 2 minutes to go, holding the Bengals, turning it over on downs. So it's a kneel-down situation there. Steelers are going to win. And the Ravens punt it away with 2 minutes to go. Callaway fields it, 25-yard line. And he is swarmed under after about a 2-yard return. Baker Mayfield trying to play the hero role to go into the offseason with a winning record for a franchise that was 0-16 just a year ago.
Well, Jimmy Haslam hired John Dorsey. Great job. Dorsey picks Mayfield. Great job. And here we go. Baker Mayfield, you get the ball. Chance to send a division opponent home, end their season, and send the message to the world that the Browns win 4 in a row and we're coming in the future.
They've got 1 timeout and 1:49 on the clock. Mayfield's pass thrown behind Perriman.
And just off his back foot a little bit, just doesn't get his weight through. Throws it behind Perriman. Now Baltimore was in this situation against Kansas City at the end. And if you get an end of the game situation on a 4th and 9, they didn't go all out pressure against Mahomes and he created. I think if it gets to that point, I think you're going to see him send everybody at Baker Mayfield.
Weddle backs off the blitz. 2nd and 10. Mayfield buying time. He's dangerous here, and the pass is caught by Perriman, and it's ruled a catch. Remember, we're inside 2 minutes. He catches it right in front of his old bench.
Oh, I don't know. That right foot.
The toe tap with the right foot. Is it in or out?
Gonna let you just make that call, Jim. Go ahead and tell us.
I'm gonna let them give this a few looks. Here's a good look right here, Tony. Catches it there. Is that right foot down when he caught it? I don't think so. It's in the air. The 2nd foot appears to be out.
I'm gonna say he's in. Just
Okay.
because
You
watch
think he's
the
in?
right foot right here.
You think it's touching?
I think it does. If we go back to the view before this.
That's the question. Is it? He's got possession there. Is it the right foot down when he has possession?
Yeah, slows down right here. Stop. Go back a little bit on this one. And if you look right there, go forward a second, and now he's got the ball. See that right toe?
Do you see the dirt kick up?
The dirt kicked up.
Yep.
And I really feel like that's going to be the difference, because obviously at that point he doesn't get it in there.
The second attempt to
That
get the
second
foot
one's
down.
off.
The second attempt to get the foot down, he's out.
But see that right there, that right foot, does it kick up the dirt?
It's
It looks like
fractions.
it does.
At what point does he have possession? Gene Steratore, what do you think?
I think this is really tight, and it might be the bottom of his cleat that's putting up that puff. There's a good angle there. Remember, the ruling was
on the
complete.
field of a completed pass stands. First down.
There you go.
And you know, it probably is the right call, because you couldn't be
It's just not enough
definitive.
evidence. No, there's just not enough to overturn it.
We did see a little bit kind of kick up, but we were not positive.
That's a 19-yard gain. What point did he have possession, and where's the right foot at that time? It's fractions, but it's in the books. It's a completion. And now they draw closer to field goal range off that 19-yard play. Here's Mayfield down the sideline and over the head of Landry, who wanted a flag. The entire AFC North story is going to be written in this last minute and 35 seconds. You got every Pittsburgh Steelers fan in the world doing the unthinkable right now, cheering for the Cleveland Browns. Trying to see the Browns knock out the Ravens and put Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
And you got the #1 pick against the #1 defense, who has the rookie record. And this formation, for all you new people, 4 receivers on one side, has hurt Baltimore today. We'll see here.
2nd and 10, they come after him. Steps away, throws. Did he catch it? Oh, what an effort by Landry. They say incomplete, it hit the ground. Landry saying, hey, challenge it. You do not want to challenge. You can't challenge it, Jarvis. You're inside 2 minutes. He tried to curl his hand underneath it. He might have a cause here. Watch his hand go under and then pin it against the body.
Oh, my God.
I think he's got a case.
Oh, I think he does, too. Of course.
How do you do that? You got a player on your back.
Of an incomplete pass is under review.
They've got to look at this up top. Again, inside 2 minutes. Booth review.
Well, you see the hand stays under the ball. But does it get on top?
Gene Steratore, help us through this one.
I'm going to rule catch on this one. The left hand stays under. The ball does move, but he does not lose possession, in my opinion. Now, remember, we have a running clock at this point. If they overturn this to a completion, a 10-second runoff will apply. It may not be that big yet from 127 to 117, but we will have time as well. I have a catch on the play, guys.
Well, as they're looking at this, we're seeing on another monitor that at Heinz Field, that game is over. The Steelers have won. No one has left the stadium. The players are on the field, and they are watching the Jumbotron and watching this game with their hopes. Again, their season in the balance here, needing Cleveland to pull off the win. Again, in fact, we're going to be able to show you this. Look at this thing live from Heinz Field. Look at everyone still in position. The fan base.
And they're watching and deciding and trying to cheer for that to be a catch right there. They're like, that's a catch. That's a catch.
And then you go with the Ravens, the agony of what happened a year ago.
Oh, it's literally turning into the same nightmare for them right now.
The script's looking very similar right now. This is a tremendous effort, though, to save it by Landry. And he did. I mean, he got the hand underneath. He has the hand between the ground and the ball.
The only way you could say that it doesn't is because you see that ball hit that ground on that way down. So his hand's under, but the ball does right there. Like if there was no control there, but it looks like he has control.
Yeah. I know one thing. When we shook hands with him last night when we walked to our production, maybe the strongest handshake outside of Adrian Peterson I've ever seen in the league.
Or my handshake. But yes, you're exactly
really
right.
close.
It really was
Really
the second strongest that you've ever had. I tell you, he's got like those paws that just grab that football.
They're taking a long time with us because it's so crucial.
Yes.
It would put the Browns within, 5 or 6 yards of a possible field goal attempt, with still plenty of time to get closer.
Well, there's a monster difference, obviously, in field position. But it's 3rd down and 10, or it's 1st and 10 as well.
Yeah.
And the Ravens season, we're not just trying to build this up. It's on the line.
And then you got, of course, the story may come down to a Joseph field goal attempt.
Oh, they're talking right here. That means they got to go back to where it was, which tells me then they may call this a catch. They're like, how much time was on the clock? Where's it going back to?
The ruling on the field is the receiver possessed the ball while going to the ground. Therefore, we have a completed pass at the 39-yard line.
It's a catch.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 30 seconds. And this will require a 10-second runoff.
10-second runoff. 2 reviews on this drive are both ruled catches for the Browns for a total of 35 yards. The one to Perriman and this one to Landry. Hey, look at Juju Smith-Schuster over in Pittsburgh after they got the news that was called a catch.
Well, you know what he's thinking, right? I fumbled
last week in New Orleans.
Last week in New Orleans. This would be Christmas just a little late, but I like it. Baltimore, this can happen to them 2 years in a row, can it? At home, having the lead in the 4th quarter. This defense, you want to be the #1 defense in the league? It's time for you guys to stand up right now and put this team on your back and say, we're going to close this out.
Well, it's a defense, though, that has surrendered 426 yards today, which is about 200 more than they've been giving up recently. And they've seen Mayfield moving in on almost 400 yards passing. So they're taking a long time to explain where the judgment came down, why the call was made with Harbaugh, who's seen 2 reviews on this drive go against his side.
1:30 on the game clock. Cleveland has elected to have a 10-second runoff. By rule, the clock should be set to 1 minute, 20 seconds.
That's what Harbaugh was saying. He says, your 10 seconds didn't run off.
Cleveland set the game clock. Thank you.
Cleveland's going to hold on to its 1 timeout. And now the Browns.
Watch this. This whole drive from here on out, you're going to see Baltimore just like this. 1 guy back, and you got to decide who's coming and who's not.
Here's the snap and the throw, and knocked away without even turning around. Levine denying Njoku.
It's a good throw, just perfect defense by Levine putting his hand up.
The Cleveland Browns to a man. When we met with them last night, they all repeated the same thing. This is our playoff game. They have 1 minute 14 to write an incredible final chapter to an unbelievable script for the year. 2nd and 10. And that is incomplete to Landry.
I'm telling you, Jim, Baltimore has utilized, watch the pressure, it's all out pressure again. And just behind him, a missed throw. But if you're going to look at this, oh, he was open, he missed him. Baltimore's not going to let the Mahomes situation in Kansas City when they didn't pressure with enough guys on 4th and 9. They're not going to let Mayfield, he's going to have to do it throwing it quickly.
Here they come racing up. 3rd down pass, batted in the air and almost intercepted. And now it's 4th down. Do you go 57-yard field goal? Or do you go ahead and take another offensive snap?
Well, if I'm Cleveland, I'm taking another offensive snap unless I have Justin Tucker.
We know he could do it.
Yes.
And they are going to run another play and forget about the Hail Mary kick.
I would take a timeout if I'm Cleveland. You know, you have plenty of time. The time is meaningless here. if you don't love the look as a quarterback, I'm like, I can't block this. I'm telling you, Baltimore's coming after you. You got to get this ball out right away.
The whole NFL is watching. A 4th and 10, and here they come. Mayfield's pass is intercepted by Mosley, and the Ravens are going to take the division. Hearts are broken in Pittsburgh.
Baker, you played amazing, but this #1 defense in the league stood up, put the city of Baltimore on their back with the season on the line, and they blitzed them with everybody. 4 straight plays, and they didn't do that in Kansas City. And I thought if this game came down to that, Baltimore's going down, they're going down swinging. And they stood up today when they needed it.
That's $1 million play, by the way, for Eric Weddle. He got $1 million bonus for a win. It's in his contract. But Mosley, who had a deflection, a little tip on Mayfield's first interception back in the first quarter, he is some player, Pro Bowler. Last year, they lost on a 4th down play in the last minute. Today, they win it on a 4th down play.
Well, just, you have to understand, this throw was actually great by Mayfield. Mosley is blitzing, the guy who intercepts the ball. But what they do is they say, if you're blocked, he's going to come, and Mayfield sees the guy running. Mosley backs off, and he really had the first down, but Mosley backed off out of there. And
there's the Steelers watching the moment their season ended. Right there. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens go 6-1 over their last 7 games.
And who's the team you don't want to run into?
You've been saying it's this team for weeks.
It's just very difficult to go win a game at the end without something incredible happening, and it's very difficult to handle their run scheme. John Harbaugh, he brought this team back, deserves a lot of credit. They were left for dead 7 weeks ago, weren't they?
Yes, they were. And they close out, again, 6-1. They're in the playoffs for the first time since 2014. They take the North, the AFC North, for the first time since 2012. I mean, a nail-biter down to a minute to go. And C.J. Mosley. As you see the 2 rookies meet, their first head-to-head matchup, if you will, because it was Flacco in their first meeting this year. A many to come in the AFC playoff picture now. We know this, that the Chargers will be at Baltimore next week, and the Indianapolis-Tennessee winner will take on Houston. Again, I have to put it in here. If that game tonight ended in a tie, the Steelers would be able to get in that way. So there is still
a 0-0.
There's 0.04% chance that could happen. Tracy, down to you.
Well, congratulations. I know you weren't here last year, but it came down to the wire for the 2nd straight season. But as you were standing on the sideline watching, what was going through your mind?
Defense need to get a start right here. You know, we put them in a bad situation. You know, we should have finished the game strong, but we put it back out there on the field. You know, they just executed. They came up big this night, and hats off to our defense.
But what you've been able to do for these last 7 weeks, what you've shown, how difficult is it for this team to be stopped?
Man, you know, we got to – it's not even about us being stopped. You know, we got to keep working because we got to stop tonight, you know. And, you know, I want to appreciate that. You know, we got to keep grinding. We're going to work on Tuesday or Wednesday whenever we practice, and we got to get better.
How does it sound in your rookie year to be able to go to the playoffs? You're going to have a rematch now with the Chargers. Your thought on that one?
We got to prepare strong. You know, that's a good team, like I said before. That's the fastest defense we done played. We just got to execute.
Well, thanks a lot. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
By the way, if you're wondering, Joseph's longest field goal of the season was 51. His longest in college was 54. If they would have attempted field goal, it would have been 57.
I don't think you could. Not in this environment, this cold.
There you see tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by back-to-back episodes of The Neighborhood, plus God Friended Me and SWAT, tonight only CBS. Well, it came down to this. Mayfield with Mosley, who's such a leader, such a smart defender. Reading that one.
What a play. Quarterbacks don't think guys dropping out or playing coverage. He did and saved their season.
The Ravens are in the postseason, beating Cleveland 26-24. For Tony, Tracy, and all the crew, Jim Nantz saying so long from Baltimore. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 53.